was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been a running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard to live it, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movies, then I go downtown. Somebody keeps telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother, and I say, brother, help me, please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Whoa, there were times when I thought I could last for long. But now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for showing up, you guys. Coming to Trajectory. Tonight we have a new format, and that's the camera I'm looking at. All right, so we have a new format tonight. What's going to happen is we have a very beautiful bowl right here, and it has everybody's name in it, okay? So what's going to happen is we're going to ask a deep question that is going to be meaningful. That's the idea. And then I'm going to select somebody's name out of this bowl, and that person is going to come up to the microphone. You're going to have 30 seconds times 3, 90 seconds, right? 90 seconds. See, I did math. 60 seconds? Okay, we on a discount. Inflation, it's hard. Hard times. Okay, so only 60 seconds, and you are going to answer or have dialogue about this question. Now, once you're done, we'll tell you we're done, that you're done. And then the panelists, it'll be tonight, me and Mikey, and we are going to talk. We're going to ask you questions, or we're going to comment about what you said and about what it is. And feel free to dialogue with us. Talk if we ask you a question. That time, we have 3 minutes. And so at the end of the day, we're going to get into some deep conversations, and we're going to have a little bit more knowledge about each other. So for everybody that showed up, it's going to be a very interesting thing. So I guess without further ado, Mikey, okay, here is the deep question. So I want to tell you a little story. Today, I was driving, and I just started the Instagram Live, and I was going to tell people about this event tonight and another event that I got going. And as I turned it on, I'm driving. You probably shouldn't be driving while you're doing that, but whatever, I'm a rebel. And so I was driving, and literally I started, and it came on, and I'm like, okay, it's going live. It says 3, 2, 1, ready. And I look up, and at that same time, a squirrel darted out in front of me, and the car was coming this way, and the squirrel got squirreled. It literally got hit, like, and then it went boop boop with the tire, and then hit the car and went literally, right? And I was like, whoa, I had never seen that happen like that right there in front of me before. But it got me thinking that, why'd he do it? Yeah, that was one of the thoughts. Like, dude. But then the other thought was, how many things have happened where in a blink of an eye, your life changes? In a moment. Life is made up of a string of moments. Right now is a moment. When you were singing was another moment. And then after whoever gets up here is going to be another moment. But every time, all we have is the moment right now. We only have right now. So, and sometimes right now will change the trajectory of our life. So the question for today is, what was the moment that changed the trajectory of your life? Mikey, would you like to do the honors and pick somebody's name out of the bowl? That's where we need the music.
Our dear friend Tony.
Tony again.
He was the first one last week too.
All right, Tony.
Okay. I heard the question earlier before we even started, and I thought, I remember, I can tell you, okay, a moment that changed the trajectory of my life is, I can probably tell you the exact date. It was like February and 1987, where I was in the Marine Corps. I was 11 years in the Marine Corps, and I was scheduled to be released from service, and it kind of ruined my whole dream. I planned on doing 20 years, but I didn't. I make it to the prestigious E7, E6 rank in the Marine Corps, and so I had just gotten married 3 months earlier. I had a newborn baby, and it changed the whole trajectory of my life. I didn't take it well, and that's the one thing that you gotta look for, is that I didn't take it well. I didn't receive it well, and it kind of even went downhill from there. Ended up totaling my car, and and the registration was already paid. The car was paid for, but the insurance canceled on me. So, I was out in a whirlwind. But, I looked to the Lord, though, at that moment. And I knew that, there was a reason, because I had had that car accident, and I could have died. But the Lord saw fit to leave me here, because I had a family to take care of. And so, it's like, but that is the one thing that I could think of right now that changed the trajectory. There's been other occasions after that date in 86, but that's the one that's most memorable to me.
So it changed the trajectory of your life from a physical standpoint or from a mental standpoint because you survived?
Well, both. mentally, well, not physically. I was young and healthy and everything. It changed me mentally because I did get have a kind of like I think I was always a positive, but in relationship to the relationship I had with the Marine Corps, it went to crap for me. But and I just said screw this, and but then I had to gain a positive outlook that it was going to be all right. I'm going to go out, find a job, and I'm going to do something else.
So basically, what happened is you became I don't know how to say this, broke dick. Like that's the army, right? That's what we called people when you hurt yourself and then you had to get out. We call did you get chaptered out after that, or was it just because you weren't able to do PT, or
It was because of I had did 11 years of service. Okay. Now I was an E5. That's a sergeant, and they give you 12 years to make E6. And we were overstaffed in the Marine Corps. And, it wasn't anything bad. They just said, thank you very much for your service. Have a nice life.
So 11 years.
It wasn't anything bad. That's just the way it was.
Just to reiterate what I was saying I salute you. I don't know what camera to look in, but I salute you because what I've noticed in the lifetime that I've had of 43 years, for men to acknowledge there's feeling attached to stuff that may be vulnerable is very hard no matter what age. And so you possibly have helped a gentleman that has a newborn, that has 3 months into his marriage, that is level 5, about to hit 6, 11 years in, and you may possibly have given him wisdom to say, I was disappointed, but I carried that for you, to hopefully that you buckle up, Buttercup, and you enjoy those fruits of what you have right now, young man, right? So that's how I could see the beauty of the pearls of the wisdom of the heartache was not for no reason.
Right. And then that's true because I've heard it said mentors, it's like, it didn't happen to me, it happened for me.
So what's something positive that happened from that? That couldn't have happened unless that happened.
I guess one thing was independence. I was able to, continue. I was able to get a job and still raise my family. It was a struggle. It's always a struggle because I think I dropped maybe about 30% of the income that I had, when I was in the service.
So here's the other thing you've been in there for 11 years, so right? But the other thing that I'm always aware of, I could even relate it to being late to work or to an appointment where I might have forgot something. I'm like, crap, I got to go back home and pick up the whatever today with the SD cards, right? But I always think about, okay, that's Squirrel. Had he been 5 seconds later, a second and a half later, because you got to figure the car's going really fast, right? A second and a half later, he would have been alive, right? But he wasn't, and it was his time. And so 2 things. One is that we are not on our own time. We don't have our own time. We're on borrowed time. We're literally on borrowed time. And every day that we're here, thank God. But we don't know that we could have been that squirrel. So maybe God saved you because you might have been deployed and you might have been in a predicament that
that's
you couldn't
one
have
thing
got
too.
out of.
Well, see, that's where I said my attitude or my mindset had set in, because when something did work out, like there's a storm and everything, I had already did 11 years. And the thing is when you go into the service, you're kind of almost obligating 8 to 10 years. So you might do 3 or 4 years, get out. They're gonna call you back if something breaks out. But I had did 11 years, and so, for something to happen, I had no worries. I even had a smug look. You can't touch me, like that, So, but I kind of chilled on that, because hey, that was an intense situation. It was war, and it was, something. But that was still my moment. I guess my hurt part. Just feeling out. But I kind of smoothed that out, because hey, it was a real.
Awesome. All right, man. Thank you.
Marissa.
Let's celebrate the moment. What is a moment that changed your life? The way that you knew it.
I have one. I have many. Marissa Herrera, and my business is to change the world, be part of the change of the world, through music, through the power of positivity, and through many other outlets. As long as we're alive, we have a chance. Even if you change one person's world, it's still part of it. So I have one. So doctors told me, because I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, which means I got cysts in my ovaries, and I never had a normal cycle. I started my period when I was 12, and they didn't really have PCOS really out there yet. And when I was 19, I got diagnosed, and it was because my friend Tracy, she was like, hey, we used to work out at Curves together. It was a gym where you did intervals. And she said, you may look into this hormonal thing. And I was like, huh? It wasn't really common. So I checked it out, and yeah, I had it. And at the time, how they gave you basically legal speed and birth control pills to try to level you out. But I ended up losing a lot of weight to get fertile, and that was through a lap band. And anyway, so I thought children weren't in the cards for me at all, until I went to this exercise class off Main Street, and I had already dropped maybe 60 pounds from the lap band. And I had some of my friends from high school there. I'm like, come on, girls, the first class is free, come on. I'm always the cheerleader, I'm always the leader, right? The girls met me there, and I could not have I was sweating, and I was like, oh, I'm in so much pain, girls. Like, oh my gosh, it was like you'd been at the beach all day, and girls kind of only know, like, and that's what was happening. I was like, something's foreign, I don't get it. And so anyway, later on, I go, hey, I told Abraham, I was like, I think we need a birth, I got to check. And he's like, nah, you just checked. And I was like, I know, but something's wrong with my body. Like, I've never felt like that before. And I had to stop the class. I don't give up like that. So anyway, I was at my apartment, and I took the test, and it was 2 lines. And I was like, oh, shit. I was freaked out because I had already accepted that I wasn't going to have that kind of motherhood. I was already loving a daughter that wasn't physically mine, but in my mind, I was like, wow, at least I get somewhat of this experience. But wow, those 2 lines came, and guess what I did? Got on the phone, boop, boop, boop. Instead of 911, it's mama. It's mama. Called my mom. Mom, you have to get over here right now. It was only a few minutes. My mom shows up, and I was in the bathroom halfway in, halfway out. And she came to the door, and I was all, Mom. And whatever panic face I gave her, she said, this is what she said, quote unquote, I am not killing a roach for you, Marissa. Because she knows that was my number one fear. And I said, Mom, it's not a roach. She goes, you're pregnant. She knew. She saw right through my soul, and I was all, mm-hmm. And then she goes, no way. And I go, mm-hmm. And then she goes, no way. And then she stayed like this for 45 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. And so I was scared, and I was every feeling, and I thought, well, don't get too attached. What if something happens? And it was just all this feeling. And I thought, shit. Oh my God, you know? Then I started getting excited because I was like, well, wow, and then I was like, I'm going to be a mom. Like literally, I'm physically going to be a mom. But then I was thinking there's a foreign object in my body. So then I got scared, like, is there going to be enough room for my child as it grows? And, you're a woman, so you're thinking a million things all at the same time, And anyway, that really changed the trajectory of my life. I almost miscarried at my job because I was a workaholic. And, wow, like it changed the trajectory of my entire life. That was one of the times. And there's been many a times, but we don't have all night, so.
Oh, we're gonna have fun with that. That's awesome, man. How many kids do you have right now?
2 boys, physically, but I raised a girl. She's 23 now.
Any plans to have any more?
Oh no, we got that taken care of. I'm 43. I'm done.
Man, I have 5 kids, and each one of them have been, changed the trajectory in a different way. But having not the ability to have a baby that you think, and then you get pregnant, I can't really speak to that too well. But I can only imagine that's pretty amazing. So sometimes we have those situations where we think that it's bad and it could be good, and then there's other situations where we were in something bad and then we get some good news. Mm-hmm. And how did that also affect your relationship with God?
It was kind of weird. Like I kind of felt like a little bit, like I'm being honest here, a little bit like a science experiment, because I knew I had a foreign object in my body. And to me, like what I've been taught throughout my life, like I went through a hardcore church. That's a foreign object in your body. That's you morphing your body into something that God didn't call you to do. If you have like obesity or addictions, or, you have to have self-control, it's free will. So I really struggled with just deciding to have this surgery to possibly be a mom. And then I became a mom. So I think there was this weird like guilt attachment to it. Like, am I a science experiment? And I'm sure a lot of moms can relate to me because of surrogacy and different ways that we can have children now, that God lets the surgeons know how to do that. And I can't touch that because I didn't experience that, but this was what was mine and I experienced. And so I almost started a podcast with a fellow, she's like a sister to me, and she also had fibrosis, so she struggled. So when she got pregnant, we were actually, our boys are 4 days apart. So we wanted to talk about that, about how much it does to our bodies, and give grace to some of our mommies out there experiencing some of this stuff. And but I'm only here because I'm allowed to be. Just put it that way.
I can't imagine. I can only imagine the wave of emotions that you were going through at the moment when you saw that those 2 lines, and waiting for your mom. I can only imagine all the stuff going through your head, and just, I bet that was a moment right there. Something you'll never forget, Mm-hmm. And I mean, women are the closest thing to God that I know. I mean,
Some.
I mean, women create life on earth. I mean, that's the closest to God.
Hold
that I
on
know.
a second. Hold on. Let's talk about this for a second. This is an important thing. So we get into an argument. My daughter, you guys have all met Lindsay. She's a pistol, right? And then she talks about, Mom, I came from mom. Guess what? No, you did not. You our testicles is where we all started from. Your daddy's
Yeah.
testicle. Yeah. So we also get some credit for that, right? So, but when I tell her, she doesn't like to hear that she came from my testicle, but she did. It's just the fact of life. That's where she came from.
So look at the way I look at it is the creation of life takes place in a woman. It's our yes, we donate to the cause. You know what I mean? We donate to the cause, you know what I mean? We
are the cause.
we put life.
We are the cause.
We
don't
put
donate
life
to it.
into it. I mean, that right there, I mean, I've even wondered if the whole Bible is based on just that right there. That cycle. It's, it's more than I could fathom, but it's bigger than I would ever understand. So, I mean, yeah, I go back to the mind. Is it all of the mind structure? But, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe somebody sacrificed something for me so that I could live, so I could experience this, whatever we have, and however long we have it. So, but
Your daddy's testicle. So.
There's one other thing I want to add is
we're all fast swimmers.
there's one other thing I wanted to add is when I was like literally sacrificing my body, to make sure the life inside of me was well taken care of to the best of my ability. I didn't know psychologically. I was a freight train on a working schedule. I was a workhorse, and it almost cost me my child. And so I just want to say that to any women that are out there that possibly thinks I'm not going to get the respect in that job place if I don't exceed my limits. It's not worth it, ladies. That's why we have paid time off. That's why we have sick pay. That's why we have personal days. Please don't abuse your body. Please, speak up for yourself and your body. It's not worth it. Your children, life, it's worth taking the break. So if that helps someone else, that's another thing.
Go ahead. Your turn.
My turn?
Yeah.
All right.
Before you read the name, what happened to your finger?
Almost cut it off, bro.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, it's Mikey.
Okay, so I guess the cut wasn't deep enough, huh? How's everybody doing out there?
And if you guys
Thank
have
you,
something
thank
to
you.
the microphone, you have the microphone. All right.
So something that changed the trajectory of my life was probably losing my grandfather. Losing my grandfather at the age of 9, and then losing my grandmother at the age of 14. So my grandfather was we were pretty close, I was only 8 or 9, and he was the one that had me in sports and everything. I would roll around with them everywhere, and I was a little right hand man, and so my grandma and grandpa they kind of raised me while my mom and dad were being young and growing up at the same time, and so my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side were there, and I ended up losing my grandfather, and that was a blow. I didn't expect it, and it was heart-wrenching, but I still had my grandma, so I was good. And then I lost her in 95, and that was my world. So that changed the trajectory of everything. you know. But you know, whatever. Today I can stand here and say, you know, I would take nothing away because it's made me who I am. But I have looked back and said, well, what if that wouldn't have happened? You know? So, I mean, yeah, you know, I'm still thankful for what I got, and I'm thankful for the day and thankful for everything I have. And, you know, that changed my trajectory, but, you know, it goes different ways, and here I am today. So, was that 90 seconds?
Yeah. I'm a really horrible timer, as you can see. But I figure we have kind of an intimate group, so we can just roll with it. But
Any questions?
so before questions, I know people have something to say, but a lot of why we're here and what we're doing has to do with that. You know, losing somebody that you loved, because a lot of it comes down to identity, right? Because that person is part of who you are as your identity. So your memories, when you think about whatever, they're part of that thought process. So they are you. They're a part of your identity. And when you lose that, you lose a part of yourself. It's just the way it is. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because no matter what you do, and no matter how bad you wish they were back, or how bad you could just give them a hug, or how bad you could just ask them one last question, they are not there. But the way that I've reconciled that is that I look at it in my mind as a race that we're all running towards the finish line, right? And we all have flags. We all have flags, and this is the flag of me. And your grandpa, he had the flag of grandpa, and your grandma, she had her grandma's flag. And they both, as they're carrying that flag and they had to stop, they did a handoff, and they handed off to you. And it is your responsibility. It is your blessing. It is your luck. The what? Calling. And their legacy. But the fact that you don't have to, you get to carry their flag for them, and they still live through you, through your actions, through your conversations, through your works. They live through you. And as long as you remember that, and when you go to bed at night and you remember that, and then when you wake up, you remember that, it gives you perspective and it gives you purpose, because what would they do? How can I honor them? And that why trajectory was started about Serena literally is because of that. It's because I'm carrying the flag for Tori, I'm carrying the flag for Serena, and I'm carrying the flag for my dad. And so what can we do? What can you do? What can you do? What can you all do to get that flag farther and so they're not forgotten? So, yeah, and if you guys have anything, go ahead. And if not, yes, no?
Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, man.
Let's see, how does this work?
Just make sure the red light's on.
Pressing the button on the side?
Just make sure the red light is on. Oh, yeah.
You can use this one.
Okay, the red light's on this one. Okay, now I can totally, see how something like that could change your life, and only, it's just, if I can ask a quote, how old were you when your grandma passed?
So when my grandmother passed, I was 13 going on 14.
Okay, so your grandma and your grandpa, so then I don't know if you went to your aunts or uncles or your parents after that.
I was still in the same household. It's just, other family members
We're there.
were now responsible for me.
Oh, okay.
In a sense.
No, I totally get that. It's like my mom passed away when I was 14, and it was one of those things too. It was a life-changing thing. I'm at school, and I go home after school to see 4 or 5 cars parked in the parking lot there, and I'm like, what is all these people? And come to find out, my mom had a heart attack at the job, so she went to work and didn't come back. Now, yeah, my life changed, but I was 13, 14, but for all intents and purposes, I didn't fear anything because like you said, it's a way I've already re- acknowledged that is a part of life. I've had grandparents pass, and my uncle pass, and he was actually shot, but he was one of those bad boys, But
A lot of the death we experience, though, we're not ready for it.
no,
Most of the
yeah,
time, we're never ready for
yeah,
it.
you're never ready for it. But I just wanted to say, that for me, I wasn't really. The thing is, I felt secure because I had my sister. It's like you said, you had someone there that took over the reins, your grandparents, and that kind of carried me through my childhood, is knowing that I had my eldest sister there to raise me and my siblings, my 2 younger siblings. So, but and and it just went on from there, And again, a lot of stuff that happens in the world, it's not, if we're self-centered, it's going to be, why is this happening to me? But it turns out it's happening for us again.
Hey, it does take a. It's not a question that comes easily, though, and death is not something that's. I mean, I don't. We were never expected to. We were never expected to handle that kind of, So yeah, and I mean, anybody going through anything like that, just reach out, because there's always, hey, you have us here Wednesday nights, just please let somebody know, because that's not easy to deal with. So,
For some people, some people take death like how you would take it. Yeah. I think I've been raised by people who was like, tough it up. Nah. Hey, no, tough it up, man. What are you crying for? Tough it up. So I didn't have time to do that. I never cried. I can honestly say I've never cried at a funeral. I've never cried at a funeral. I've cried once at a funeral, and it was for a friend of mine that he was always there for me. He was a legend in Corona, and he would always get me out of trouble, pull me out of cars. For people, if I was in a car with people he thought that they were trouble, he'd pull me out. He'd call me out in front of people and be like, no. He's not like you guys. Come here. And he would pull me aside, you know what I mean? I think he was about the only one that I cried, but I don't know. It just seemed like every time a family member would pass away, somebody's always telling me or hitting me on the shoulder saying, come on, man, tough it out, dude. What are you doing? So, I can see like how some people take death. I don't know. I hope. Well, I'm not gonna say hope. I hope I don't ever feel what you guys feel. You know what I mean? Because that sounds painful. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like pain like that, like, you know, like I said, I wish I don't ever, can never feel that. Or I wish I don't ever feel that. I just don't know why I don't feel like that. You know what I mean? I feel sad, but for me to show it, I'm not gonna do that. You know, that's just me. That's just how I was brought up.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take the wave on to Amy. Surf's up.
I like it. The music definitely helps.
I don't think a minute and 30 is enough for what. At first, when you're like, this is the question, I'm like, but I'm glad Tony went first again.
Yeah.
He says, sure. No. Wait. This is the second time I'm doing something like this. This.
This is their second time here.
Wait. Like this? No, and I would not do it. So I don't even have liquor in me, so I don't know. But I do. Yeah, I mean I do speak in public. So
Once again, welcome to
Yeah.
Trajectory.
Yes. Yeah, so I this is all new to me. And every time you have a question, I think to myself, I have no answer for you. But as I'm sitting there listening to everybody, I'm like, oh my God, I do have a story. So Scotty knows, and I think I told some people that I had moved to Corona from Hawaii last August. Before moving to Corona, I didn't even know Corona existed. Exactly. But this wasn't my first time moving to California from Hawaii. This was actually my second time. The first time was in the 80s, and we lived in the Bay Area. But my husband always said we had to go back. So I said, okay, I just thought he wasn't really serious. And in 2012, we went back. And how that event changed the trajectory of my life is that it was so easy for us to move back. I mean, we filled a 40-foot container. We moved dogs, cars, even a boat. So it was a very expensive going back. But I thought, okay, I'm going to go. I used to work in high tech. And I said, I'm going to go back home. I'm going to be a real estate agent. And I'm going to help my dad build the business of his farm. And so I thought that's what I was doing. We get there, because I kept saying, God, if we're supposed to move back, will you please help us? And everything was so smooth. That was 2012. 2013, everything started to go sideways. And I would look up in the sky and I'm like, why is this happening to us? My husband had a hard time finding a job that paid what we wanted him to get paid. And I was in real estate and I went from this income to zero income, and so it was real new to me. I was in high tech and all of a sudden I have to be this salesy person. That was really hard. So what I'm getting at is I had to go find another job. So we had 2 rentals when we went back to Hawaii, and one tenant was not paying. And then we decided, let's just sell our San Jose house. My husband's like, okay, I know you're doing better in real estate, but could you please help me? We have 2 mortgages. I just need you to go work 2 months. That was my introduction to financial education. But before that, like I said, I would look up in the sky and I'm like, dear God, I think I'm a good person. I go to church. I give to Catholic charities. I donate. Why is this happening to me, right? So then I had 2 choices, to work at the wedding ring shop or go to work at this place, which is a financial education company. And I thought, it's 2 months. I'll just go and help out with their admin, even though I don't even know how to do that, but, I'll go. So I went, and I went to a temp agency, ended up going there, And 2 weeks into it, one of the owners said, you know what? I don't want you doing what you're doing. Stop answering phones. I want you to follow me. I want you to shadow me. I want you to teach this. And I thought, okay, but I'm only here for 2 months. But I didn't tell him that. I just thought, oh, thank you. But internally, I'm like, okay, I'm only here for 2 months. So anyways, I did it. And then it took, I want to say, a couple days shy of 2 months. We sold our San Jose house. We got tenants in our other rental. And my husband said, okay, now you can go back to real estate full time. But by then, I was already teaching. And with just a few clicks of a button, so I'm a cash flow coach. I have been doing this for more than 11 years. And that was the beginning. And then I knew why all that was happening to me. You know, because I told my husband, I can't go back. Just a few clicks, and people are crying because they're happy. I'm helping them to increase their cash flow. This thing keeps falling down. Okay, I'm not touching. So then when I was teaching, then I'm like, you know how you know, why is this happening to me? Like, what's the reason? But you don't know what it is yet. And so when you say, is this something that you do? I do this with my clients. So when someone says, you must not know what it feels like to not have nothing, I say, your nothing and my nothing could be totally different, but the feeling is the same. Heart palpitations, sleepless nights. When someone says, you must not know what it's like not to have money, I said, your money, how much money you have versus how much money I have in the bank could be totally different, but the feeling is the same. When you see your money being depleted, right? No income is coming in. So the feeling is the same. You know, and all of the experiences, the bumpy roads that I felt was leading me to my calling in life, because honestly, I gave up a lot. I worked in high tech right before the whole right? And that's another story, by the way. I feel like I need a whole. I'm sorry. But I needed to share that, and that is the reason that is the pivotal moment of my life that changed me. Because otherwise, I would tell one of the partners of the company that I'm a partner that I gave up a lot to come home. I gave up so much as far as living comfortably. But then he would always tell me, you wouldn't be living. Yeah, you would have a comfortable life, but you wouldn't be living. You need to experience life. And me helping others with their finances and mentally, physically, financially, just everything. Like really, I never knew what priceless feeling felt like until I started seeing clients. I started sharing stories with them. And it totally changed me as a person. So now I look up in the sky and I say, thank you for the bumpy roads that led me to where I am today.
Last time he left me speechless. No, that's not gonna happen again. That was good. That was good. But damn, I can 100% relate on a couple of levels. When Sage was born, you know, he had 10 major surgeries, and he had heart surgery, eye surgeries, intestinal perforation surgeries, intracranial hemorrhaging, different procedure, all kinds of stuff, right? And it just reminds me so much because we're like on the 5th surgery, not knowing if he's gonna live. He literally has an ileostomy bag. He's got like all kinds of things. He's got wires and tubes coming out of him, and you know he's being intubated. All these, so he has to have a machine breathe for him, right? And we don't know if he's gonna live. Aspiration pneumonia, and it's not clearing. It's going into the tubing, right? And like what? We don't know if he's gonna live. So the trepidation and all of that is horrible, right? And this is the last thing. So we're gonna close up right after this, just so we know. Just so you know, you're the last speaker. How you doing, Isabel? Isabella. But a new couple would come in, and then their kid would have jaundice, and they would have to go into an isolate, and they would need a bilirubin light. And it's just a light, right? Shining on their kid. But parents would come in, and they would be freaked out. Like, you could see they're holding hands like, oh my God, like, is he gonna be okay, right? And it was only a bilirubin light. But the level of what they felt compared to the level of what I felt on the fifth, all of that crazy shit. So what's worse? It's what you're facing at the time. That's where I came from, and we're on the same exact page. So we have to, yeah.
That was heavy right there, man.
It's heavy stuff.
You know, very inspiring, very awesome, and it shows how God's awesome. You know, He has plans for our lives. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that, and I'll be having to talk to you. I got to work on my cash flow.
Have anything to say? Okay, so that being said, well, let's.
Thank you.
We have to be out of here by 9. So that being said, it's one of those. Oh, Pam's the only one.
Pam, if you want to.
I was going to make a comment about.
Make a comment, Pam.
I go through struggle. I'm starting to appreciate the struggle, however that is. Things seem really hard for me, and for people struggle. It's part of life, I guess. I watched the 10 Commandments, Moses, like a series the other night. I didn't get very far on it, but I got this message, and it's really cool. And it talked about, the Jews wandering in the desert for all these years, and it's more of the journey than it is the destination. They're trying to get to the promised land, and, but if they don't know how to act right when they get to the promised land. So God gives them the 10 Commandments, or gives Moses the 10 Commandments, and he comes back down from the mountain and he sees that they're worshiping a golden calf, and it's like, so I feel like my journey is really what I need to be in touch with and appreciate. And I'm not anywhere near the promised land. So I have a lot of growing still to do before I can get to buy myself a house, if that's even, have my own place and my own space and stuff like that. So it was just really interesting. It was very enlightening for me. So I think that you going through the whole cash thing, and the struggle with your financials makes you even that much better of a teacher and more passionate about it because you do understand,
Well, so that's what I tell everybody
awesome.
about us. So that was the company that I'm a partner with in Hawaii, which will be retired at the end of October. And the reason why I'm in California for the second time is to grow my new company that I'm 50% owner with one of the other partners. And so what makes us different, that when I tell people about our company, is that we teach most of our strategies come from experience. So, just like I'm a real estate agent in Hawaii. So when people, want to buy a house, I'm like, I know what it feels like to buy a house, to sell a house. I know what it feels like to go buy a rental property. I know what it feels like, to start a business, to go through the ups and downs. So that's what makes us really different, is that a lot of what we teach, we've done.
All right. Okay, everybody, thank you again for showing up. I think for who does show up, 90% of success is showing up, right? So I greatly appreciate you being here. I think we all learned something tonight. I want to invite you guys back next week. I want to invite anybody out there to come on and make some new connections with other people, but also within yourself. But also within yourself. Make sure that you do. Is that going to be an outtake, or that's going to be part of the show? You are all invited. We're having fun here. Come enjoy an appetizer, a beverage of your choice, and again, make a contact, learn something about other people, and more importantly, about yourself. So thank you, and we'll see you next week. Peace out.